And hello, we're back from the break. Please welcome Gennadii Chursov, software quality engineer at Orion Innovation. He'll walk us through the process of UI automation using GenAI. And Gennadii, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you for introduction. So I will start with sharing my screen with presentation. So I think we're ready. So the topic is UI automation using generative AI, and I'm a software quality engineer. So that's actually my main job. I'm working in the area when I need to create such automation and tests. But why data science and AI? Because nowadays we can use it together and we can generate that automations that previously for a lot of years I did manually. So now it could be even faster and easier. So for today, we will have some short theoretical agenda. I will share some presentation slides and we will have a demo today. So I will try to write automation using that approach. And in case if it will not make it, I also have a recording. So usually people divide it into two groups. First group, not yet recording demos. Second, started recording. So for today agenda, we will start with a problem. So what current problems in automation engineering trying to solve? What's the issue? I also will tell you about GenAI-based automation first version, because here on Data Science Conference, I'm a speaker already third time. So I started my journey to use AI in automation 3 years ago. Now I have several improvements to my framework, and the next agenda step will be just to share what I improved. Actually, it should be version 2, but okay, I will fix that. And then, of course, it's a little bit hands-on, so it will be more like masterclass. I will show you how to do that, how to install Warp, how to set up it with MCPs and etc. And we will trying to generate some automation. I also will show you the result of my previous attempts, and we can discuss conclusion. Is it okay? Pros and cons, how to use it? Is it really better than nothing, better than regular stuff, and etc. So let's start. What's our problems here? So typical automation efforts for specifically UI have some things. So first of all, we need to write page objects. I don't know about you. Are you aware about current issues in automation? But page objects means usually that we have some kind of pages on our web application, and we are trying to use the same technique to split our code for actually doing that automation also on pages, because we will know that this one mapped to our code. We will have a list of elements on that page, and we will use that to identify locators. So the second stage, maintain stable locators and actually page objects helping us, because if we defined our locators in one place in a page object, even if it's unstable and we need to fix that, we're fixing that only in one place. Yeah, so we are using that techniques. But even with all of the techniques, sometimes we have duplicating code and we are doing a lot of refactoring. This also actually effort, because firstly, when you just start automation, maybe you don't know what will be in 3 months, how your logic will be structured. And sometimes it's just a boring task because you're just finding the same exact code in your repository and trying to remove duplicity. It can be fixed with AI, I think. And of course, our application is also dynamic. It could be changed, new feature appear, or something fixed because of a defect, or we introduced a new design without actually new functionality, but just better user flow and etc. So we need to rewrite everything. Sometimes it's hard because all locators will change. Sometimes it's easier and it's only like visual changes, then maybe we will not even fix anything. And of course, UI will change dramatically in our case. I mean, we can even introduce a new flow for the user with complete different methods and etc. And we need to always sync that. So we're not only rewriting test, we are creating a new one and etc. It's also actually time consuming. I think it's the most time consuming part. And after we wrote our automation, it's not the end of the story. We usually trying to run all of our tests for each sprint to be sure that we are not actually breaking anything for the users that will use our production code and etc. So we are usually introducing CI/CD failures, and we have lucky selectors or environment issue and etc. It's our pain for QA engineers in automation. This part hard to actually automate even with AI, but it could be in the future. For today's session, we probably will not work on that, but I will share ideas how it could be. And of course, our maintenance of our code increasing with every sprint. So usually we are doubling our tests. The more tests we will have, the more engineers we need to hire, the harder to investigate the failure. It could be that you run your regression and you face that all the tests failed. And they can fail for different reason, and you investigating each reason, fixing it, rerunning your regression suits. It also took some time, and after each iteration, you are fixing one by one, and usually after some time, it should be fixed. But here you can also use some AI techniques to increase it. How we can solve it today, I already told you, page object model, some other architecture patterns could be used like Spring Play. We can use some components to split our big page into some models. For example, it will be login model on the page. We will have some main product and some additional util things that we have on the page. We can use techniques to increase chances that our selectors will not be spoiled even if a new version of UI will be released. We can use some smart selectors. We can ask our developers to use data test ID that will be stable even if HTML of the code will be changed. We can use some other best practices. There is also tools that fixing selectors even without AI or solutions that was introduced even before. We can even use visual testing, so completely without AI, like just comparing screenshots and a lot of other things that also helping us. Like we even have a test stops when we are running our test and it helping analyzing the results. It also can use AI or not, so we can do a lot of things. And we can even introduce a retry mechanism. So if something failed, let's try to execute it one more time. If it's fixed, then great. If not, let's check something. And of course, we are solving it today with a lot of fixing manually. I mean, we need to run regression, then probably we will reproduce the issue locally. And after it localization, we will try to run it with debug mode. We are doing debugging, and today I think we also will do that because we cannot skip that part if something broken. We need to investigate what line of code failed and how to fix that. It's actually a pretty repetitive, tedious job, but every automation QA need to do that time to time. So how AI can actually help to solve our issues? I think everyone who wants to introduce AI starting with the first part. They are just asking ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever else, just to generate some basic tests or simple methods or asking some questions and etc. And they are usually using just UI for that ChatGPT and Gemini. So no introduction to incorporate that generative LLM to the framework itself. It's just like an assistant, but sometimes it's using like in a browser on mobile. Sometimes you just using some IDE like Cursor to work with that, or you are introducing Copilot to your code. And how you doing that next? You're copy pasting the result, putting it into your framework, into your code base. You're trying to run it. If it failed, you copy pasting it back to ChatGPT Gemini with error code and asking how to fix that. So that's usually how we're doing that. And LLMs trying to find patterns, fixing code, return you back results. You trying repeating, debugging, using that conversational prompting. And after some time, you probably will have a working solution. Still, to work in that area, you need to have some knowledge how it should be done, because here you need to ask the question, and then when you get the answer, you need to validate it. Of course, you can just blindly copy paste it to your IDE and run, but if you don't know how to fix it manually by your own, then probably you can stuck with infinite loop when any LLM will help you. That's also could be an issue, but sometimes it's solvable. So now let's go back to history in 1 year, and I will share a little bit about my first attempt how to work on that. It actually was 2 years and 1 year ago. I created a POC for the framework. So I firstly created framework by my own. It used Playwright and TypeScript, and I generated basic test. Also using that regular approach when I just go to UI of ChatGPT and ask, please create me a simple Playwright test for this link, blah, blah, blah. And it actually generated test. I checked, it's working. I put it, improved some results manually just to have one etalon of the working code that I can use as example to our next prompting. And then I also introduced a lot of additional features. At the end, I had self-testing and self-healing mechanism. It all worked only for API testing, so I use it for REST API calls. And it was pretty simple, so not a big JSON files with millions line of code. It was simple enough to automate it with regular engineer for 1 day. And it done like in several hours using LLMs. And it worked. If something happens, self-testing, self-healing, trying to fix that, I never had a 100% success rate, but I had it something around like 50-50. So if you will try to run your automation test generation using LLM several times, usually at the end of 3-4 attempts, you will have a working test. That's how it's worked. And that framework also had additional features, and I needed to wrote all of that features by my own. Actually, I'm mostly a Java programming language automation engineer, and I use TypeScript. So for me, it was a little bit challenging. It took me some time because I also learned TypeScript together with implementing all of that features. But all of that features were actually vital for the product. Why? First of all, when we are working about introduction LLMs to our framework, we will face a lot of issues. First of issue, probably on your job, someone from your managers will tell you, please do not use that tool. We don't have permission to share our sensitive data. So first attempt to do that is on your pet project, or you need to implement that data protection. So I did that. So I used regular techniques how to safely store logins, passwords, some URLs in env properties. So I did like at least first step to securing handling of sensitive information. After that, when now I can use it and even deploy on GitHub and no one will use my ChatGPT token, I started to thinking how to actually create a solution that will work without copy pasting responses from ChatGPT. So it should work automatically. I just need to create initial prompt, then it will create the whole automation for me. It will run it. If there are some failures, it should investigate the failure, fix it, And at the end, after some time, I don't know, in 5 minutes, I should have either working solution or I should have failed solution but with description what happened and how to fix it. So first of all, I need to add test execution logging. So that's the vital part because ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever else will not know what you're actually doing, how you executed your test if you don't share the details. But usually your framework not saving, not storing, and not sending all of that data. So I use the debugging that are actually from the box for Playwright and TypeScript to collect timestamps, statuses, and all of debugging information for execution and for failing tests, just to share it with AI if I have some issues. The next step was to enable dynamic running the test because in that loop, when I ask ChatGPT to generate a test, I will have as a return some code was written on TypeScript. But of course, I need copy pasted it and put it into framework, and then I need automatically run it. That's why I actually moved from Java programming language to TypeScript because I need any language that will be able to run the test without compile. So I didn't want to find a solution how to compile my code firstly, but TypeScript, JavaScript, Python are actually good for that purpose. So I had some limitation on programming languages as well. And I did that. So in TypeScript, it's pretty easy. I just Google it. I found a solution. There is a child process in TypeScript, so you can run any files that you have in your project. Easy, so it's working. That was a good job. Then, of course, I need to have integration with AI. I choose firstly OpenAI ChatGPT because it was pretty easy to use. Firstly, I even use a Postman collection to have a calls to ChatGPT. And then I introduced HTTP client that are enable interaction with ChatGPT. And I can send some request responses and do something with that responses in my framework. Next, because sometimes response contains not only JavaScript code, it also could contains some comments. Like firstly, it will share with you idea of how ChatGPT fixing the test. Then it will be JavaScript code. At the end, there will be some additional just text. So I also introduced parsing methods. It's just util methods for getting only JavaScript code from the whole response. That's all. And also I need to introduce a lot of other things because not only code we need to save test results, process data, the whole history of response from ChatGPT because sometimes you need to analyze it. If your initial prompts failed, you will use iteration by iteration fixing your initial prompts to increase chance that at the end your test will be successful. So to analyze the data, you need to save it. So I created a layer for data persistence that actually implemented the logic of saving all the information that needed. And of course, there is some instability in test by its nature. We are trying to reduce it, but sometimes you still have some flaky tests. So I thought it will be good just to have some retry mechanism, just to try to run your test several times before you actually will start using self-healing mechanism because self-healing mechanism actually time consuming and it's also money consuming because for each call to ChatGPT or whatever else, you are actually using some tokens and you are paying money for each token. And it means the less tokens you will use, the better for you because you will save your money and time. Time is also a vital part here. So I use self-healing mechanism only if it's really needed. If the test just uh, flaky and second attempt will be successful, I'm not using self-healing. For self-healing, it's also interesting part you cannot do self-healing more than several times. You cannot just try it 10 times and hope then after 10 attempts it will have a working solution. Usually you will face the issue when your code um, will be in infinite loop of failed solution. So sometimes it's even better to start the test from scratch than trying to heal it more than twice. Because if there is some issue in initial prompting, you will not able to fix that. You will just lose a lot of tokens. And also there are an issue because you cannot send really a lot of data into your model because there is some restrictions of how many token it can remember. So that also affects how your testing framework will use any AI. So the more memory of previously added context to LLM you have, the less restrictions to your framework you have. So if you have, I don't know, only several megabytes of data, you can work only with several classes. If you have hundreds of megabytes, you can even share the whole code of your project and ask, please fix something. So it depends. Sometimes you need to shrink your data because the full project cannot fit into ChatGPT context. That's the issue. Okay, so I shared how I did that a year ago, and unfortunately, but maybe it's good, all of those things that I shared with you can be replaced with MCP, so I can throw it away. And all the jobs that I done manually to write all of that features now can be replaced with MCP. So model context protocols that we have, for example, in Playwright, doing all the job by your own thing automatically. So how it's working. Now let's discuss our 2 version. So in that version, I introduced a little bit improvements. First of all, I removed all the code that actually doing that job with data persistence, running test, generating test, everything. Now, you can use some terminal or you can use Visual Studio Code with agent or I don't know, any other solution. For example, today I will share you examples using Warp. It's a terminal with a context. It can work with MCPs, it can work with AI agent, and it allow you test generation and test execution just from command line. Of course, your generated code could be used to run it and debug it using, for example, Visual Studio Code or any other IDE. So you can check it manually if you want. And of course, to work with that automation, you need to find the suitable MCPs, and this year of MCPs, now we have a lot of that. So I'm just using Playwright MCP, and it can write you testing using Playwright API directly. So your LLM now can inspect DOM, so it knows how to find locator for an element. It will query them, execute test steps, write all of that test, and it can even fix test for you. So you can do it in Warp, you can do it in Visual Studio Code. There is several differences, but in general, it's just write great initial prompt, ask to do some stuff, and at the end you will get working solution. At least it will try to do that. So now we can go to the demo, but firstly I will share with you some additional links. So what materials we are going to use today? Let me just open everything. So we will use Visual Studio Code, yeah. So I think you are already aware of that. So using that one. Second thing, we will use just Playwright. Playwright is a tool. It's also a test framework that support modern web application automation. It actually not only for UI test, it can be used for API as well. And I used previous year it for API. Now we are introducing UI automation as well. It's also supporting several browsers and even mobile emulation. So maybe it's a good decision to start working with that. And of course, Playwright support TypeScript that I used before, but also it supports some other languages, so you can use it as well. And then vital part is to using Warp. So how to use that? First of all, you need to download it. So it's available for Windows, for Mac, I think for Linux as well. But there is some things it's not free. So this tool is okay. I mean, it could be free just for a demo, but I used a paid account. So for me, it's $20 per month. All of that great solution, unfortunately, taking money from you. But if you're on a job, probably your company will pay you and actually introduce, for example, at my company, I have a Gemini, I have ChatGPT, Cursor, and a lot of other things. I didn't work with Warp on my uh, actually work project, but as a pet project, I both the first months just to share with you how it's working. So for me, it's not great money, but of course, there is other solutions, so you can find something for your own. You you don't need to stick to Warp. We can find something suitable for you. And yep, of course, we need to introduce MCP. So we will have some smart decisions from Playwright. So we will use a regular Playwright MCP. So there is some instructions how to do that. We need to introduce it on Visual Studio Code, Cursor, a lot of other things. So anything that support MCP client and Warp itself. And there is like a config that we can use, so we can copy paste it from here. Actually, we have a Warp here as well. So, and you see a lot of other things. So the most common is Cursor, maybe Gemini, what else? And Visual Studio Code as well. Yeah, so that's part for initial configuration. I will show you in details. And we will going to use all of that together to automate this site. It's a pet spot. So I'm actually a great lover of cats and dogs here in Serbia. I'm even pet sitter. And with my Minty, we actually automated this web application. But we automated it using Java programming language. It took several months because we just started automation. So we can just compare how many time we will need, how much, just to automate it using regular approach without knowing anything on TypeScript and Playwright. So I hope today we will do that. And of course, if needed, we can just use ChatGPT and etc. And one thing that I'm going to use today is that you can even find guidelines for Playwright, how to use it with great examples of prompting. So there is some guidelines, and that guidelines actually not for humans. You can copy that guidelines when you will start writing your tests. Of course, it's like extended techniques. You can start with a simple queries, like you can simply ask, please create, and you can even avoid word please, but who knows what will be in the future. So I'm trying to use please word in all the cases, but yeah, you can use such guidelines as well. So once we discussed which tools we are going to use, I already installed Warp. So now let's go to the Warp itself. So how it's working? So Warp is a terminal. On the left window, you will have the history of your communication. So there is a lot of things I already did, and I created a project. Now here in this ask a follow-up, you can write any queries. You also have information about what project you have here. For example, here I'm using JavaScript. This is my working directory. It's called Playwright TypeScript ChatGPT POC. And I have a warp test branch. So I'm not doing that on a master. It's a good approach to experiment on some other branching. And it's actually sharing me that it created for me 300 lines of code. He even deleted something. And here in that mode, you can also use agent mode to be able to interact with that, just querying something, it will do it for you. Sometimes it's asking you, for example, do you want to proceed with code generation? Do you want to proceed with changing your code? You can also configure that in the warp settings, like how often it should ask you questions, or you trust it completely, so you can decide. And also you can, I don't know, use your voice, attach some files, and etc. And the vital part that for that $20, you have access to a lot of models of LLMs that you can use, from starting from ChatGPT, Claude, even some Gemini, and etc. So you can use that. And as I'm aware, you can even use your own model, but you need to set up an configuration file. For that purpose, for this tutorial, we will just use Claude 4.5 thinking model. You also see that it's actually comparing intelligence, speed, and the cost. So I don't want to use the most cost thing because I already spent some tokens, but for today I think will be enough. So that's how it look like when you already have a project. On the right part, you also have a list of packages, list of files that it generated for you. You can actually close it, and you see in warp test I have 5 files. The most important file here, it's already generated test. For example, let's open here, and it's just TypeScript code. We can actually open the file. And of course, here it's maybe not really useful how to work with that. And for that case, you can open Visual Studio Code. Let's open it. And that's the same files that you can read, debug, and even run more easy way. So that's the second approach. And of course, you can start your own project. So let me try to do that. Okay, so how to do that? We are just opening a new tab in the project, and we can create new project. We can open repository or even clone repository. So that's how we're doing that. And also I want to show you the setting parts, because before we will start with Playwright, we will need to do one thing. So here inside account, of course, you don't need that. You will have your own. Let me see where it was. Of course, you can use appearance like dark mode, white mode, and etc. You can use your own API keys here. And let me see where it was actually. In AI? Nope. Okay, so here in profiles, you have some additional things that you can actually change. So I already told you that sometimes agent will decide for you. Sometimes it will always ask you. For example, for execution command, I share that always please ask. You will see it later how it will do. And here in MCP servers, the most vital part, we need to introduce one MCP server. So now here I have Playwright. It's actually offline, so I need to run it. So usually how you're doing, you're searching for server. Let's write Playwright. Okay, let's try. We don't have anything. So in that case, we just click in add. There is some template. We need to put something here. For example, I can do that from Visual Studio Code, where it was. Let me check. So in extensions, I also installed Playwright. I can start server and I can see the configuration as a JSON file. So that was my configuration for Visual Studio Code. And for Warp, I used pretty the same. So this one is already completed. Let me just edit it. That's how it's working here. Okay, I can even copy paste it so you will see the difference. Okay, that's how we did it here. So I just moved that part with servers because we don't have a lot, we have only one. So I just saved this part. It's actually the same. I don't need any working directory here. I mean, you can specify it, but for me, it's not needed. I don't have env params and etc. The only thing that we actually need is this part. This is the most vital part. And this command is used just to work with that MCP. So if we have this one, it's already enough. And then we just starting it. So that's vital. If we are not using our MCP, we will not have all of that features. So you see how many things it added. So it can browser close, resize, and etc. So now we don't need to implement any features to work with automation. If we'll just ask, please close the browser, he knows how to do that. And now he knows to do everything. He can click the link, find the locator, run the code, and etc. So now we can use everything. So once we set up it, we can return back here. So we can open existing folder. We can clone repository. So for example, here, let me find the project that I'm using. This one is my project on my GitHub account for the previous year. I have several branches here, like GPT POC and etc. So we can use this one. Let's actually open the main page, I think. And here in HTTP, we can copy paste it. Let's go back here, add it. And now you see we are actually cloning the project. In terminal, you see there is a lot of instructions that actually Python. It will use my local PC, so it's pretty safety. It also will use techniques how to hide your tokens and other things. And now you see that's the part that I told you. If something requires your attention, you will have that message. Okay, if I run this command and read the output, you can reject it, you can edit, or you can just run. And of course, you can add auto approve. Actually, I had an issue with auto approve when my playwright test failed. You need to manually close your report. And for some reason, playwright MCP failed with that closing. So it was an infinite loop. So for me, it's better to manually click in on run. So at least for now, for today. Now we have some other option. Let's also run it. And currently we are doing just initial setting up of our framework. So for everything, we will just click, please proceed. It's first part. And you can also click here for auto approve. If you just boring with adding everything. Now on the right side, you see now we have a difference in our code base. So he changed some package log, added playwright MCP, added playwright test, probably the last version, at least at 2025, yeah. And a lot of other things. So if you're not knowing what it is, me either. So I'm not expert in every library in every line of code, but let's trust. And it also added playwright MCP server and etc. in our packages on. So it's just regular stuff for our npm packages and etc. And it also generated warp. This file is for guidance. So it will use this file to generate the tests, just best practices. And as already shared with you, you can Google all of that part or change it here. So this is instructions helping to not lose the context of your application. For example, this part probably is based on the tests that I have, because I already have some pet spot, I have some Amazon emails, blah, 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 some environment, another part. And because we have everything here, it's actually already analyzed my project and added it here. And of course, it found there is some tests already written. So this is one of the tests. This is smoke test that I wrote several days ago. So he knows that we have tests. Okay, if you just have a base project, you will not have tests, but it can create it for you from scratch. It's also possible. And let's see what will be the last step here. Okay, so we're trying to do some directories as well. He can also check the README file if it has. So currently it's working only for 4 files, but it's okay. And also you can input here agent mod if needed. And that's all. So we've done everything. Okay, great. For some reason this was failed, and you see how self-healing also working in warp. If one of the command failed, and you see previously all the commands succeeded, but ls minus la failed because I'm on the window. Maybe it's not working, but dir is working. It's actually showing what I have in my folder. So warp is using such technique. If something failed, it will automatically try to fix that. Okay, let's do run. Now it's actually sharing that. Oh, let me see what it's doing. Trying to find the README files, some other things. Okay, you can also check what it's actually returning for you, because sometimes you don't have enough time. So first initial thing, warp will use a lot of time just to investigate your code base. It will try to find cursor directories and a lot of stuff. So it's trying to do a lot of things. And for something it's failed because I don't have Copilot, I don't have cursor, but it's okay. It's just initial setup in the project. Okay, now it's sharing that it completed. Let me just read it for you. So yeah, it have a missing test. It have a page object model that I used. You know about playwright MCP. He organized the structure, a lot of other things. He created MD file with all of that. Okay, and he even added playwright inspector here to warp file. Let's accept the changes. And you see, we don't even ask him to do something. He just, okay, why not to do that based on our project? It was just initial setup. Okay. It found some other tests. Let's accept it. Okay. If you want, you can also skip and try to do it by your own. I mean, you always can stop agent, because if it will go completely in different angle, into different way of doing what you don't want. For example, okay, let's stop fixing documentation. Yeah, we can do that. We can stop it. Now this task init stopped. Okay. What if we can already run the test? So let's write a new command. Run pet smoke test using playwright MCP. Okay, now let's see how it will work. Yeah, firstly, trying to analyze my request. Then it will, you see, it's actually did that. It opened the browser. Now we're on a pet spot. Let's wait for some moment. Actually, close this part. And let's see, is it failed or not? Probably not. Actually telling us the page loaded successfully. Now let me verify elements. Okay, let's do that. Let's just move it a little bit right so we will see what's happening here. So he actually checked that we have psy, dogs, cats, munchkin, and all other part here. So the best part about using such technique is that you don't need to specify details about your web application. If something will be dynamically changed, it will know that, okay, now you have a different category on your web application. Yeah, but for now it actually stuck for something, trying to run it. I thought it already actually ran the test. So I don't know what's actually happening here now. Let's wait for some moment of time. Then when it just checked the page, now the next step is just to create some other automation. The best approach here is just to think as QA engineer and decide what you want to do here. Describe it in human language, like please add any item to bag and check the price, for example. So I did one of such tests. Of course, you can do any other tests, like for example, add two different products and check they are existed, and then try to remove one of the product. And you will have at least one because you added initially two. So that test also could be here. So better is just to specify what you want to do with your application, and then it will try to do that. Because sometimes you have a desire just to write, please automate everything so it will be good, but you don't know what you means by that. So better to firstly use even another AI to create your test scenarios based, for example, on your documentation of the project, of your Jira descriptions, and etc. You can write it by your own. And only after that, you're actually putting your prompt here to asking to do something. Actually, I don't know what's happening here. It's one of the issue because I don't have any information what actually currently warping here. And the only thing that you can do is to try to stop it. And unfortunately, it actually use a lot of credits. And that's another information that I want to share with you, is that I have a limit. So let's see how many I have yet. Going back to settings. Probably it's inside the billing part. So I have, let me see here, 1,500 tokens for this month and already spent 200. But you also need to know that I use it, I don't know, several days before. So not only today. Yeah, for example, for initial setup the framework, it was 11. I used almost 168 credits. For today, we used only 30 and 11 as well. So how you can actually limit your token usage. And of course, if you actually near the limits, you have a way how to additionally purchase additional tokens. So it's supportable. But usually if you're not on a pet project, but on your real project, you're not maintaining all of that, your company will do that. So we are going here and checking this page only for one reason. If you will use the same approach and you will click after reload here and you will add here additional purchasement, after some time when you will lose a lot of tokens, just be aware that you can buy some additional ones. So I think you need to firstly check that you are not actually purchasing anything else. So that's the vital part for you. Okay, now returning back. So here we have additional information. It also can be useful for you because it contains how many tokens you spent, how many calls was, which model, also about that window context. So, for example, context window was used on 32%. It means we have a little more space of our code base. So if we will have even several files, maybe all of them will fit context window. And also all of that modern systems trying to shrink your data if you are close to 100. So it's also possible, but then with a shrink in your data, it will lose some details. So it's not the best solution, but it's actually trying to help you. So, okay, so I didn't know what actually happening here. So what we can do to trust our solution. So it tells us that the test actually passed successfully, but we all QA engineers, or at least we are in IT, and we all know that you cannot trust it, yeah? So how to check it manually? We can go to our Visual Studio Code. Here I have our pet smoke test that doing actually the same. Okay, I can also show you in Explorer the structure of the project. Inside the test, I have two files that belongs to our application. This one for category testing, and this one is just smoke. The smoke test opened the page, it checking the URL, it checking the title, and possible buttons on the application. Then categories, and just checking that buttons and categories are visible. Okay, so if I will run this test, it should also open the browser and it should pass. At least we are hoping for that. Okay. It opened the browser. And what else? I don't know if it will close the browser automatically or not. Actually, it also passed successfully. But as a QA engineer, I also not trust this one. I mean, what if it will ignore everything here? So just to check that it really actually reading all of that, we can also try another thing. Let's go here and I don't know. Let's I don't know, remove something. So what if we will go here and write 1, 2, 3? So birds now should be failed. And now if I will run the test one more time, now we expecting that this test will fail. Yeah. Otherwise, it will be the evidence that the test is doing nothing. Yeah. Okay, let's see. It's still working. Okay, let me see. Now the test is failed. And let's see why it failed. You see, we have actually the issue that I broken intentionally. I changed the locator of the element. Now it cannot be visible because we didn't found the element with птица 1, 2, 3. So the birds now not existed and the test failed. And actually it's a great way how to check that this test actually passing. So just one of the way how to trust the solution that was generated by Warp. Okay, now let's try to do something more. Okay, we also have a add to cart. Trust me, it also works. And what about this add to cart item? So we are doing a lot of other part. We are adding some products, and inside the bag, let me see, where is the bag? So cart count should be increased after we added it to cart. Okay, great. So what about the next test? Yeah. So we can ask ChatGPT to write additional one. Use write MCP to add additional test to add item to bag and then delete it. Check that bag is empty. So that's the human readable description of the scenario. And of course, it should follow some at least basic concept. You have steps to reproduce and you have a assertion. So what you need to verify. Because otherwise, how generative AI will know what you want to check. So just follow that principles. Which tools you're going to use, steps to do, and what you're going to verify. Okay, now let's try to do that. So let's start warping. Okay. And it should use MCP, so it should open the browser again. Okay. Let me see. Okay, it shows us that he already did the part of adding item and it checking that it has one item. Okay. It even added some dog for life. I don't know what it is because I'm only учим сербский jeden месяц, but maybe you know what it is. Okay, there is also some Serbian words, but we have a translation. Okay, great. And at the end, it successfully removed it. But I don't see any files yet, so let's wait for some additional time. It will create a code change for us. Okay, it created a code change. 54 lines, and of course we need to accept it. We're accepting it. I think it also will try to run the test one more time, just to be sure. Okay, the test was created, and it's even trying to update warp MD file one more time. Okay, so yeah, it's adding to the structure one more test. It's also great because if you have more tests that's actually successfully passing, each more attempts to generate test will use your previous experience and code base, at least until you have enough context for your AI agent. So let's accept it. Okay. Yep. And let's actually close the browser. And that's the summary of the test itself. So the test flow is go to home page. We check in initial that it's empty, adding item, checking that now it's one, removing, and checking that it's again zero. Actually, looks a great scenario. I didn't even mention that we need to check that it's initially empty. Yeah. And I didn't even specify how to add an item. I didn't specify how to remove anything. Like it's completely here. Now it actually ran the test. Ah, no, it didn't run the test. It's just sharing with us. Okay, you can run it by your own. Okay, we can actually run it in terminal, but we can do it in Visual Studio Code. It will be easier. And of course, 43 more tokens was used. So that's the vital part for you because to know about that AI, the best part here, if it will increase our efficiency and performance, but will not cost a fortune and a lag, because it's important that we need to save money, not, I don't know, spend a fortune. So let's return back here. Now I have a new test, cart management. Let's see. And you see it's adding comments, so we see that at the end it's checking that it has 0 elements. And what else we have here? Yeah, it's checking that it's 0 in before. So everything that it's told us actually here, so we can try to run the test. Okay. And we are hoping that it will work. Yeah, let's open the browser. Oh no, it failed. Okay, so it's actually happening. And it failed because of that zero. Maybe if it has nothing, it's not zero, but who knows? Okay, let's close the browser. And of course, we are following the retry mechanism here as well. Let's just run it one more time and let's see. So I see that it has zero for now, yeah? Okay. Is it failed already? No, it's still working. Yeah, it failed. If it failed, what we can do? We have two ways. We can try to investigate it by our own, but it's just strange because why we are using AI. Then we can ask it here. So run the test, and if it failed, try to fix. So let's do that. We can close it for now. Okay. And asking us, can we run it? Yeah, I'm actually allowing to do that. And okay, so it failed. Mhm. But it failed actually on some different thing. It failed on locator. Uh, mhm. This locator. Can I see where it was? Ah, so it failed even before checking to contents. It happens sometimes. Yeah. So here I face the issue that I already told you. When it actually creating the report, it cannot quit the report because you need to manually press Ctrl C to quit it. Let's do it. And once we will do that, then it will continue with fixing the test. So yeah, it actually knows the reason. So it actually sharing with us that it couldn't find zero in the cart link, blah, blah, blah. So he will try to fix that. And now you see it's actually using some additional things, trying to wait a little bit so the cart will be initially loaded. Then he's trying to use some other techniques like regular expressions to search, or something else. So let's apply it. Okay, probably it will try to fix the test one more time. Let's see. Additional thing to add, and that's how it's working. So usually you are the person who are doing that investigation and fixes, but now we have AI. Okay. After that, he will try to rerun it because he doesn't know if the fix actually succeed and helped. And in real life, automation engineers doing the same. So it's completely imitation of my work. Yeah, but just a little bit faster. Usually after a long of coding, I need to go to drink coffee, but AI doesn't need so. Still, we failed. Now we failed on this part. Uh, I mean, maybe even this part is better to search. Now we failed on verify card. This one. No, it's already actually a big progress. So we are further. Now we also need to close the report. It will try to fix the test one more time. Okay. Good progress. Something is working, something is not. Okay, he even removed the code he created before. It also happens. And immediately trying to rerun it. So as you see in this self-healing situation, you will need several iterations. You cannot do it in one. In real life, engineers are doing the same. So they also checking it. Okay, if you have some progress, then you're trying to fix it additionally. Okay, actually telling us that it's working. Let's see. I'm not trusting these results, but let's see. Why it's actually running two tests using two workers? I didn't ask it. Okay. Both of the tests passed. I saw it. Yeah. And there is some summary. Okay, maybe it really fixed. Who knows? Both tests passed. Okay. So we did everything that we asked. Now we can try to run it. Yeah. Okay. Doing so. Okay, now we have a progress. You see, it's actually doing something. Yeah, I even saw that it was removed from cart. So let's see. The test is passed successfully. And as you see, actually, I don't know what it is. Probably it's, we don't have any items in cart, but you see it's 0. So you can also use that this browser is still opened as evidence. We saw that it's really added item to cart, then it remove it. Now we don't have anything here. And we saw this message, it was visible, so it was a verification. So for now, I hope the test is done. Of course, even though that the test is created, you see that this test has a lot of steps. In some big project, you need to reuse the code base. As already told you, we are using page object models, everything else. So even though that we have a correct working solution, sometimes we need to improve it. Now let's do some refactoring. So let's refactor the test using page object model. Okay, I think it will be enough. We don't even explain that POM is page object model. Let's hope it's pretty intelligent. Yeah. And he knows that it's page object model. Okay. He created, I don't know why it created login page. Oh, okay. He used that as a template. And now we will see the difference. Okay, he created the pet spot card page. Okay, let's add it. And of course, it should change the test itself. Now let's refactoring. Okay. Uh, he fixed something, and you see, um, before it was a lot of, now it has only one line, so let's accept. 57 lines removed, 19 added. Let's see. And I didn't ask, but he trying to retest it additionally. And it's a good approach because if you're refactoring something, who knows, maybe you spoiled something, so you need to retest it. Okay, we are retesting it. Looks like it fixed. So you see it has error with report that you need manually close only if the test is failing. But it's good that if it's failing, you are stuck and you are manually checking the result. Okay, it's adding a new file. And what else? Okay, some other thing for description. Final verification. I'm also the person who are trying to run the test several times because uh, I'm not trusting even myself. So let's see. Okay, I think it succeeded. Now it will return short summary, I think. Yeah, the summary that he refactored everything. And of course, we can go and check it in good looking Visual Studio Code. So let's go here, where it is. Now it looks like really nice scenario. You see the difference. I think we can even remove everything because this description of the method it's already pretty descriptive. So we don't need to have anything else. So this test now actually good looking. We don't need, so this is how uh, a regular engineer will write this test. The only thing, it should be still successful. Let's see. Okay, I didn't get it, but probably, yeah, you see, it's correct. Still, even though that it correct and it use page object model, we can also check that he created a petspot page using the whole technique. And you see, it was created from the first attempt. We didn't even ask him to fix something. So great. And this petspot is actually a production web application. So it's not a pet project. It's a real thing that you can use. So it's great result. But as a experienced engineer, I have some issues here. Like for example, why we need two different methods, verify card count 0 and verify card is empty because it's the same. So both of these methods probably doing the same. Also, when we have verify item method successfully inside it, probably use verify card count 1. So let's actually see. We go to I forget how to go to the uh, method using Visual Studio Code IDE. Let's just find it. It's not refact. Go to source definition. Yeah. And actually it's using wait for card count 1. So yeah, it's reusing the code. So it's a good approach. But still, yeah, we can ask him, okay, we have some rules. Please do not use get card count more than one time if you already have it. So it depends, but usually uh, you are using such approach when you already have a framework with all the rules and everything. So he can learn by examples that you already have. And I already told you, the more tests we will use with that techniques, the better the result will be. But you see, it's already working. I mean, it's a real application. It's not the only one button. It's a lot of buttons, and it's already working. So the next step is just to increase automation coverage. Now we can introduce some other tests, some other scenarios, and we're just adding one test by one. And as results, we will probably will have a list of tests. Then we can ask, I don't know, to organize it into some small group, into regression one, and etc. So you also can decide, but it's already like a different story. For the base part of generation automation tests, as you see it, we actually succeeded. So maybe you have any questions on the current results. I see 20 people joined to this session. I'm actually glad that uh, it's pretty popular. I don't know, do we have ability to ask question? I think you can use chat. I don't know about unmuting and muting, but if you have any questions, you can ask. If not, we can proceed more. I can return back to conclusion part and etc. So we have 15 more minutes. I actually prepared the slide of conclusions, but I didn't actually wrote anything because I thought it will be great if I will share a real experience. So for me, conclusion, at least we can say with 100% that it was successful. So using that approach, we generated tests that working. That tests are actually aligned with our strategy. So we had even several tests. They are all working together. It was even maybe mistakes that he tried to run two tests, even though that we didn't ask it, but it's worked. So what issues and enhancement of this solution could be? First of all, it's working for a pretty small project when you have enough context. I had another project that contains already written hundreds of tests. Then it probably will be an issue in terms of if our one of our tests depends on another one, then you need to send the whole code base. For that issue, this solution could be uh, expensive, or it could sometimes have an issue. There is another way how to do that. I mean, there is other solutions with using agents that take in your code base and you can use some RAG or you can use, I don't know, vector database when you are analyzing your code base using metadata of code methods and you're shrinking your data. So one of the solution is just shrink your data with any algorithms that you have on the market. And then I think it will work even for a full-size project. So for now, we tested only for several tests and it actually succeeded. So I think if it will be not more than 50 tests, okay, the context also will be enough. But for more, maybe there will be some additional issues. But at least it's working. So in worst case scenario, you can specify which test you should ignore in a context. Then you will just need to have more manual managing of your context. So it will be depends on you. You cannot just send everything. And I think that's all. What else I can actually share with you here? That if you want to check the solution itself, of course, you can check the demo. I also recorded it a little bit and even increase the speed of recording so you can check one more time in today's session as well. And if you want just to check how it was before, you can use my previously added repository for test ChatGPT POC. And today I also will upload currently added files. So everything that we did today is on additional branch. So I can just post it and you can download it. You can try it on your computer. The only thing that you need is Playwright, TypeScript, and Visual Studio Code. You don't even need the Warp to run the test. Warp is needed only to generate a new test. So just to check how it's working already as a result of the framework, you don't need anything specific, anything paid one, only this part as free sources. And of course, you can use Warp with your own LLMs. I already told you, if you have one, just add it in the settings. But just don't forget to remove everything that is paid features if you don't want to pay for the next month. That's how it's working. So probably that's all for my side. If you will have any additional questions in future, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Chursov Gennadii. You can write me some email as well. So Thank you for participation in that. And now, if you have any additional questions, I'm free to answer.
The messages are free to be used for questions if anyone has any.
Yeah, you can share not only questions. Your feedback is also vital here. So, did you enjoy the session? Did you try it by your own? So, let's share experience. Yeah, looks like there is no questions. So,
Well, okay then. Thank you so much, Gennady, for the amazing tutorial. And the next one will be starting in 3:15. And that's all. Thank you very
yeah,
much.
thank you. Ciao,
See
ciao.
you. Have a good one.
Yeah, see you.